Let's open... I called it the Craft Rescue Vehicle. It is a modified PT Moonsplorer. And on the end of the capsule, instead of the parachute, I have this little thing. It's called the Advanced Grabbing Unit. It's a little claw that pops out and it can grab stuff in space, which is great. Because of course I still need parachutes, I've attached these radial parachutes. I have 3 on here. When I originally practiced this, I had 2, and 2 parachutes are not enough to slow down this capsule, and I ended up killing my Kerbal and had to revert. So I've put 3 on there. Hopefully it's enough. Another thing I did was I added these multi-way RCS thrusters, because in order to do a rendezvous, the easiest way to, once you get close to the target spacecraft, the easiest way to sort of inch your way towards it until you're actually next to it is to do little translation thrusts to move yourself, perfectly aligned with it. And that's extremely hard to do with a standard rocket motor. So in Kerbal Space Program, of course your RCS thrusters are normally used to orient your vehicle, but we can also put them into a linear thrust mode where they can be used to move your entire vehicle to translate it in whatever direction, up, down, left, right, forward, or back. So I've put on these RCS thrusters, and other than that, it's just the standard PT Moonsplorer vehicle. Because of course we're going to be doing a lot of RCS thrusting, the monopropellant that comes with the capsule is not enough. Ask how I know. So I've also added this RCS tank, which gives us 120 units of monopropellant in addition to the 10 units built into the capsule. I can actually get rid of this antenna. We are not going to be leaving Kerbin, so I don't need that. Save on some space, or save on some weight rather. And yeah, if I designed this correctly, there would be like a fairing to go over this, and just because this grabber is a little bit wider than the capsule, and I think it's even a little bit wider than the rest of the rocket. Not sure though, but this works. So let's save that because I deleted the antenna, and let's fly this thing and let's rescue Valentina. I don't know what Kerbal it's gonna populate the capsule with. It's our guy Uri Kerman. Yay! Okay, let's rescue Valentina. Valentina is in an equatorial orbit, so we will do the same. We're off like a herd of turtles. I've also learned how to get into orbit a little bit better. I've learned that you can actually point down while you're launching if your apoapsis gets up too high too quickly, and it can kind of balance it out and get you into an orbit quicker, which is very helpful if you have a rocket with not a lot of thrust to weight ratio. So Valentina's at about 100 kilometers, so we'll aim for 90, because to do a rendezvous, I think it's good to start at like approximately 10% lower orbit. See, I'm pointing down here. My apoapsis is actually shrinking a little bit, but my periapsis is increasing much more rapidly. And we'll be in orbit here in a few seconds. Oh, time to stage. But that is fine. I'll actually wait till we get to our apoapsis, and I'll burn from there. So something I did, just out of curiosity, is of course the PT Moonsplorer, by default it comes with solar panels, so electric charge is never really a worry. I've deleted those solar panels. I'm very curious to see how the battery power built into the capsule, if that's all we need to make this work, or do I need to add extra batteries or add solar panels back even. Okay, we are suborbital and we're in orbit. Okay, cool, and lots of fuel to spare. So I am gonna have to bring up the wiki page to learn how to, or to remind myself how to do rendezvous. But I know the first step is set your target spacecraft as target and do a burn. So this yellow DN, your descending node, and AN, your ascending node, they show the difference in your orbital inclination between you and your target vehicle. And you can tell just looking at my green line and the target's yellow line, we're at a bit of an angle to each other. So the thing to do here is set up a maneuver at one of the nodes, and you burn either normal or anti-normal until that angle, which is currently minus 1.3 degrees, until that angle gets to 0. Whoops. Okay, get rid of that. I want to keep this here. And add maneuver. And we're going to try that. Whoop. There. All right. Get this thing pointed in the right direction. So you'll notice we're actually going to be burning basically sideways here. That's what the normal means. And that's how you change your inclination. There. All right. So we are now on the same orbital inclination as poor Valentino over here. Do prograde and retrograde burns aligned with your target's periapsis and apoapsis to get your periapsis-apoapsis set aligned with the target's set. We can do that. So the way I do this is just kind of start a maneuver node anywhere, and we'll just burn prograde here, and then I'm going to move the whole maneuver node until my apoapsis matches Valentina's apoapsis, which is pretty much right there. Don't necessarily match altitudes, but both periapsis and apoapsis should be in a line with Kerbin's center of mass. Aim for an altitude 10% lower than the target's to give you freedom to time the encounter. No, I do not want to cast this live stream to my neighbor's television set. I hate that Android asks you that. It's like, ooh, I see a smart TV somewhere in the network. Do you want to cast to it? It's like, no! Please, God, no. Okay, so that's that lined up. Create a maneuver node at periapsis and raise your apoapsis until it matches the target. Encounter indicators will now appear. Okay, so I've got to make a full orbit here. So I'll make a maneuver node. We'll do this maneuver 30 minutes from now. And I'll raise my apoapsis, and you can see these orange and pink indicators, which have appeared to show me where I'm going to be and where Valentina's going to be when we are closest to each other. So something else I can do is, if I right click on this, oops. So now I have buttons here, and I can show where we're going to be 1 orbit from now, 2 orbits from now. So if I'm just click, click, click. So something like 4 or 5 orbits from now, we're going to be this close to each other. Both 32 kilometers apart, which is still really far. We got to get that closer. So I'm going to right-click this, right-click this thing again. And I'm going to do some burns to try and adjust where we're going to be until I get us real close to each other. And I'm going to try all the types of burns, radial burns, normal burns. I'll basically just see what I can adjust to make that separation number small as possible. Ideally under 2 kilometers. So let's see, if I burn like that, here we go. Oh, look at that, we're getting lucky. We're getting very lucky. Oh my goodness, but our relative speed is super high. Which means that we're going to get really close to each other, but we're also going to just zip right past each other. So let me try some other stuff. So I can speed us way down at the expense of... Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is what we're looking for. And adjust this again. So we're 100 meters apart again, but we're only doing 34 meters per second relative to each other. So that's a lot better. Still pretty fast though. So I'll do this again. Okay, and do this again. Oops. It's gonna get a little fiddly now. Just because we're making really fine adjustments here, but it's very sensitive. Oh, we had there we go. 1 kilometer, 24 meters per second difference. That's not bad. We could just run with that, but let me see if I can get even closer. All right, let's run with that, and we'll see how I do. So we will do that burn 3 hours, 38 minutes from now, and it's only a very small burn. Okay. How'd we do? We're going to be 2.1 kilometers apart. Not bad. Let me make another maneuver node and just see if I can shrink that down a little bit. Oh, here's 1.2, 1.1. Okay, let's run with that. A 0.2 meter per second burn. That's silly. Okay, how's that? 1.6 kilometers. I would say that's probably fine enough. You can see we're already pretty close to each other. We are 23 kilometers away and dropping. So I'm going to speed up time a little bit until we get to this point. Okay, that's probably good. Now, luckily it's sunlight out, and there she is right there. That little yellow square. And it shows the distance between us. So, I'm going to point. First of all, let's arm our little grabber arm here. We'll click arm. And there we are. And our goal is to run this little claw into Valentina, and it'll automatically close. So let's point towards Valentina. And let's hold... Actually, let's point prograde. And we're going to turn on RCS. And let's actually wait for Valentina to get a little close. Well, no, we can do this. So I'm going to, first of all, let me point this thing upright so that my controls work as expected. Turn on RCS. Oops, I got to put it in linear thrust mode. Oh no. Why don't I have linear thrust mode? What? Oh my god. Well, do these work? Yes, they do. Okay. I'm using the... I don't know why I can't go into linear thrust mode, but there's a second set of controls on the keyboard that work anyway. I just gotta remember what they are. Okay, Valentina is zipping way by us. Because of how fast we're going. So, I've got to change my... I'm just gonna make this thing point towards her. There she goes. Whee! And we'll burn towards her once she zips by us. Okay, let me start burning. Oops. Turn that off. We'll just start burning towards her. There. Okay, turn RCS on. Point this thing upright again so the controls work. And I've got to go down, down, down. So there's my RCS thrusters working. I gotta go this way. And you can see above the nav ball, the speed relative to each other, 3.5 meters per second. That's pretty good. And I've got to thrust forward here a little bit. There we go. I meant to thrust forward using my RCS thrusters. That's okay. So let me just keep this pointed that way. So you can see why I needed that RCS tank. I've already burned through I've more than burned through the 10 units of monopropellant that comes with the capsule. So what are my controls to burn forward and back? Okay, H goes forward, N goes back. Okay. Perfect. So we are 370 meters apart. I don't know what length that is in football fields. Sorry to my American viewers. And we're just going to keep burning our RCS thrusters to keep perfectly behind her. And she's coming towards us. Oops, go this way a bit. And I gotta burn this way. So it's fun, you know, once you figure it out. I mean, at first it's really frustrating, but once you figure it out, I think the biggest obstacle is realizing that a standard rocket doesn't really work for rendezvous. You got to put these linear RCS thrusters on and figure out how to use the linear controls. She is coming towards us, less than 200 meters apart. Eventually we'll be able to see her. Let me point towards target. There we go. Speed up time a little bit. Okay, and I gotta go this way and this way. We're coming in a little hot, so I might want to slow down a little bit. For the claw to work, we need to be approaching at about 1 to 1.5 meters per second. That's the optimal speed. Here we are, 50 meters apart. We can just about make out the capsule now. And go this way. Slow down a little bit more. So it really is finessing your RCS thrusts now. Speed up a little bit. Let's get to 1 meter per second so the claw will work. There she is. Look at that. Look at this. Let me speed up a little more. Look at this. Look at this. Ah! Yeah! We grabbed her. So the program is now treating us as one giant spacecraft. So you can see we've grabbed her at kind of an awkward angle, but that's okay. We've got her. So we're going to point this whole thing retrograde. We've got, if I use my square bracket keys, oh no, I can't use my square bracket keys. Well, anyway, there's Valentina, and if the capsules could hold more than one person, what I would do is transfer Valentina into this capsule. But each of these capsules can only hold one person. So there's Valentina in here. We've got Yuri in here. And so my goal now is we're going to deorbit this whole thing. And once we are suborbital, we're going to release Valentina, get her ready to re-enter. We're going to get Yuri ready to re-enter. And we're just going to manage two spacecrafts separately. We're just going to burn retrograde. We'll burn all our fuel. And we're going to bring both of these Kerbals back to home safely. We actually did this. I could have made a much smaller rocket to do this. We ended up with a ton of fuel to spare. I could actually re-enter with Valentina still attached to the claw if I wanted to, but I don't want to risk it. So we did have enough electric charge. Oh, I've got 100 units of electric charge. Oh, because it combined both capsules. So yeah, when you dock with a capsule, and for some reason capturing it with the claw counts as docking, you share resources. Okay, I'm about to hit the atmosphere. So, I need to release Valentina. Jettison. Oops, sorry, Valentina. Jeez, I shot the claw right into her. Okay, good. We still have control of Valentina. I'm going to point her retrograde. Go back to Yuri. Point him retrograde. And we are going to re-enter together by the looks of it. Hopefully the atmosphere doesn't make us crash into each other. Of course, our aerodynamics are different. Valentina still has the proper parachute, whereas I've got these radial parachutes. By the looks of it, Valentina also doesn't have a heat shield? No, Valentina doesn't have a heat shield, but we do. But that's fine. You don't need a heat shield. We've already re-entered. We didn't even heat up. Okay, so I'm going to... Oh, we are going to heat up a little bit, I guess. I want to set my parachute deployment altitude to be a bit higher because we're not going to land in the water. I'm going to do the same for Valentina. So we are a little bit lower than Valentina. There's Valentina up there. And I hope 3 parachutes is enough to land this thing without killing Yuri. We're coming in hot. Okay, deploy. Deploy. And point us upright. Oh geez, the other parachutes I have to also set the altitude. Okay. And do the same for this one. Oh yeah, I think we're going slow enough to survive. I think less than 20 is okay. I sure hope it is. Maybe I'll just quick save just in case we kill Yuri. I could EVA Yuri and because the Kerbals have their own backpack parachute, so I could EVA him right now and make him fly back on his own parachute if I thought this wasn't going to work, but I think we're going slow enough. Yeah, rendezvousing is fun. I mean, setting it up orbitally is kind of mundane, but once you're actually close and you start that linear RCS thrusting, I find it really engaging. Come on, don't die. Oh my god, we died. Alright, I think it's F9 to load a quick save. Huh, so I guess if I had to use radial parachutes, I need 4 of them. So, poor Yuri is on a crash course, so we are going to EVA him. We are going to deploy, shoot, and we are going to drop him off. And do that. Okay, so we're good. So there's Yuri. His spacecraft is going to crash. Apparently 3 parachutes isn't enough. There he is there, see? And Valentina should be fine. So we're dropping at 13 meters per second. We were doing what, 17 or 18 with the Kerbal inside it? So I wonder if 13 still breaks it. No, 13's fine. So I bet if I had 4 radial parachutes, it would be okay. Oh no, that's Valentina. No, that's Yuri. Is Yuri a girl? I think Yuri's a girl. I see the eyeliner. Oh, jeez, I didn't know. Yeah, there's the ponytail. I mean, not to assume. I am the last person to assume. But I can only make the educated guess that with the eyeliner and the ponytail that Yuri's a girl. Okay. Did not know that. Yay! Bit of a faceplant, but that's alright. Recover vessel. By the way, I also tried to use one of the shuttles, the stock shuttles, to make a craft rescue vehicle, and they sucked. The shuttles just suck. It's like real life. Let's go to Minmus. Now let's do it better this time. We'll use the stock PT Moonsplorer vehicle because that does have enough Delta V to get to and from Minmus, if you know what you're doing. So we've got our right mission flag, our Minmus series of missions. We know our Moon series of missions is the How Do You Do, Fellow Gays. And our Minmus missions is There Was an Attempt. I like how the game just always picks Yuri for me now. It just knows. It knows we're the dream team. What I was doing wrong last time is to get to Minmus. Minmus is on... The moon is on the same orbital inclination as an equatorial orbit around Kerbin, but Minmus is not. So we have to do what we did for the rendezvous and match our orbital inclination. Now we gotta set Minmus as our target and adjust our orbital inclination. There's Minmus, set as target. Zoom back in. And we are 6.4 degrees off. So we will make a node. And we will adjust it to 0. But like that. Okay. Next, we just burned a Minmus, more or less. Which requires about 900 meters per second of delta V. And we'll spin this thing around. And we'll find out where we can get to Minmus. Right about there. Minmus periapsis, 2 million kilometers. It's not ideal. Minmus is so small that you're more or less on an escape trajectory, and unless you get like less than 100,000 kilometers within it. Can I do any burns to make that closer? Well, you know what? Let's just start there. And then we'll adjust as we need to. So let's watch this thing. We'll see where we get to. Okay, let's try that. Oh, something I always forget to do, which I should do, is extend the antenna on this thing. So we have contact with the Space Center. Because if I don't, you'll find that when you get as far away as Minmus, suddenly you don't have the ability to make maneuvers, set up maneuvers anymore. You just won't be able to because that requires data connection to the Space Center. So I've extended our antenna. There. Minmus periapsis, less than 3 kilometers. We'll call that good. Oh, we're gonna be making one complete orbit, I guess. Are we? Is that what's going on here? Oh, I guess so. Yeah, it's got us making a complete orbit around Kerbin. Okay. Sure. Whee! Okay. We've now been in space for 24 days. Here comes Minmus. And let's see how close we can get to Minmus. There we go. Oh, we're going to pass right by it going super fast. 679 meters. We would probably actually crash into it. Yeah, we would crash into it if we didn't do any more burns because Minmus has very bumpy terrain. And so really the lowest you can safely orbit is like 6 or 7 kilometers. Unlike the moon where you can orbit like 3 kilometers. Despite the fact that the moon's a lot larger than Minmus. So let's get close here. What I should probably do at this point is quick save. And I'm going to be ballsy. I'm going to let myself get real close to Minmus. And then I'll start burning. So there's Minmus. I forget if I said this in the last stream or not, but Minmus looks like that, you remember when we were kids at the dollar store or whatever, you could get silly putty, but then there was this type of silly putty that was like this gritty, sandy texture and had a little bit of a sheen to it. Minmus looks like that kind of gritty, silly putty. All right. Yeah, we should be safe to get up pretty close here, actually. Okay, we are now suborbital. What's our trajectory here? It still shows us shooting back off into deep space, but that's not going to happen. We would just crash. But I'm going to be ballsy here, and I'm going to get pretty close. This will be good, and let's just start burning. And we'll extend our gear before we forget. Alright, we are on our way to Minmus. Minmus is definitely very weird. Weird color, weird texture. And of course it's so small that even though we're pretty low, you can see the curvature of it. It's just such a tiny celestial body. But it's not the tiniest celestial body in Kerbal Space Program. That would be... There's a moon around one of the planets. And it's even smaller than Minmus. Gentle, gentle... Look at this. Look at this. Ha! Very nicely done. Alright. Let's plant our flag. With Uri. And I think I mentioned this in the last stream, but it's pretty much impossible to walk on Minmus because of the low gravity. There's Kerbin. And that is the moon, I think. Plant flag. Oh, where's our... What? What? Where's our... There was an attempt. Oh, man. I think this happened last time, too. Anyway, our last mission to Minmus was called Incompetence 1, so I guess this one's called Incompetence 2. We'll call it Incompetence 2, slightly less incompetence. Boogaloo. Oh, poor Yuri. She's so, she's not liking the lovely silly putty texture of Minmus. Take surface sample. You sneak a taste? What? How'd you taste it? Nope, it's definitely not made of delicious dessert product. What'd I tell you? It's silly putty. Gosh. Because of how small Minmus is, I think Kerbal's jetpack has enough RCS to put it into orbit around Minmus. Oh, come on. Oh, sticky keys! Go away. Climb. No! Screw off, Windows. Good lord. Get out of here. Jeez. Ah! Transmit. Yay! Uploading. Not enough electric charge. Oh, God. That's interesting. I love that real-life aspect that it uses battery power to... Ooh, that's weird. That it uses battery power to transmit science. Transmit data. Oh, wow. Oh, geez. I gotta, like, fully charge. Okay, let's speed up time. I need, like, all of it I can get. And we're jumping again for some reason. And transmit. Wow! I don't have enough battery. Well, you know what? We can keep it. So what I noted in my head that when we were landing, we were at a heading of 270. So I'm going to use that heading to get back into orbit. So we're in the right orbit around Minmus to go back to Earth. Put in our gear. Not that it matters a whole lot in space. There's no atmosphere on Minmus. Alright. And that's us. So you gotta be careful. There's like this mountain right here. If I wasn't going high enough, I'd crash into that. Oh, I am gonna crash into it. Okay, hold on. Let's point us upwards. Okay, we're in orbit. Possibly not a safe orbit. But, should be safe enough, maybe? Yeah, I think we're good. Alright. I guess the best thing to do is just make a maneuver here. And, burn prograde. Woo! See, it doesn't take a lot of Delta V to escape Minmus. Does take a bit to, get back to Kerbin, though. There's our Kerbin periapsis, so let's see if we can get that. See if we can get ourselves onto a crash course with Kerbin. That's pretty good. Let's see if I can do a bit better. There. We are now on a crash course. Well, we will be on a crash course with Kerbin once I do this burn in 19 minutes. So I will point towards our maneuver. And I'm just going to visually watch us orbit so we don't crash into any mountains. Alright. Back to Kerbin. And Dunzo! We are on a crash course with Kerbin. Bye, Minmus. Dump all our fuel, make re-entry as easy as possible. Oh, I gotta retract our antenna or else it'll explode on re-entry. I should quick save. Lol. Yay! Recover vessel.